Kim Edelston from the DeMoore McKim School of Business at Northeastern University and editor of the Entrepreneur and Innovation Exchange. Today I'm here with Lakis Vlahoulis, who's owner of Il Panino Cafe and Grill in Jamaica Plain and one of a Boston student's favorite restaurants to visit. And it's a real pleasure to have this good friend of mine here today. So Lakis, tell me, what were some of those telltale early signs that you saw that you knew you were going to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so my family in Greece, when I was growing up, they own businesses, multiple businesses, and I was always involved ever since very early age to go there and help out and get into the spirit of the business and how to conduct business, and they were teaching me and they were expecting me by the age of 8 to be able to run a store after school. So I loved it. I loved it from the beginning. I could not wait for school class to finish so I can go to the restaurant, to the different businesses. So at that time I was thinking that I really am going to carry on the tradition of my family and stay in Greece and carry on and run this business. Well, something happened along the way and we decided to come to America to study, and my whole family, which was 6 of us, my 2 brothers and my sister and my mother and father, we came here so we can get a better education, and with the planning that once we get the education in America, we will go back and carry on the family business. It did not work out this way because we love this country so much that we ended up staying. I went to University of Massachusetts and I took economics, and during that time I was working at different restaurants, from dishwasher, busboy, waiter, manager, maitre d', and then I started falling in love with the restaurant business in a big way. It got into my blood, I loved it, and I said, you know, once I finish school, once I finish college, I'm going to open my own restaurants and forget about the plans to go back to Greece. I'm going to open my restaurant here in the United States. So now, after college, 26 years old, I got my first opportunity, and the restaurant name was the Hazelwood at 404 Main Street in Wakefield, Massachusetts. I bought it from a gentleman whose family owned it for about 40 years, and the reason I got it is he was sick, and I got in there, and the crew that they were working for this business for over 30 years, I inherited, and I tried to fit in his shoes because he was such a great man and he was treating his employees with such dignity and respect. And I always treat everyone, whether they're customers or not, with dignity and respect, and those are lessons that I learned from my family. So I bought a restaurant, I kept him aboard, he was like my advisor, and I tried to do always the right thing, but I was so green and I was so nervous about this is a tough business. I was realizing more and more that when I was a waiter, it seemed like it's easy, but this is a very tough business. So I learned and I learned. After 2 years, I had a big opportunity to own a much bigger restaurant, which is now Bertucci's in Route 1 in Peabody. And it was available. It was, of course, long before Bertucci's. And I took it over. And over there, I had 63 employees. And it was tough, but now I knew pretty much that I had to be a little more on my toes. I had to learn more about this business, that you never become, that you know it all. So you always learn every day. So that was a big step up for me, and it happened at age 28 or 29, 2.5 years after the first one. Well, over there it was a school, a real school for me. And my wife my brother, my mother, they were all helping me. It is a place that had legal license and everything, but I kept learning one lesson, and the lesson is that you have to surround yourself with great people. You have to surround yourself with people that they care. And I did not care as much about how much they knew about the business, how great chefs they were, how great waitresses they were. The first thing that I was looking for when I was interviewing new people and all this is one thing: how good they were as human beings. Were they good human beings? I could work with that. If I have that starting point, I can work with the rest. I can train somebody, any job, as long as I know that I'm dealing with a person that has a heart. So now I started getting more and more comfortable into the business, and I knew that this was my future, that I will not do anything else. I will not, all these years in college, economics and major and psychology major, I just said, no, it's going to be restaurants. So from there on, there was many, too many to mention. I went as far south as Alabama, and I opened a restaurant there, flying seafood from the East Coast, and I call it the Fisherman. We made CNN news because I brought a lobster. I had a fish market there. I brought a lobster, a 31-pound lobster, that we flew to Birmingham Airport, and we put it on a tank, the lobster tank that we had at the restaurant. And all of a sudden, CNN News came and did a big story about the lobzilla. We call the lobster the lobzilla. And so a lot of people did say, why do you have this species on display? And I said, another couple of weeks, I'm going to bring it back in the water. And I was going to bring it back. So it never happened. We lost the lobster. But anyway, my journey until today has been restaurants and more restaurants and more restaurants. So the restaurant that I'm running right now is the Il Panino Cafe and Grill in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. We went through many trials and tribulations.
So tell us, were there any make or break moments for you with Il Panino?
Yes, the Il Panino was not the original name. The original name in that location was Gail's Cafe and Grill. Gail's Cafe and Grill was not a concept for that location. We went through difficult times and we were almost bankrupt until my friend Frank Di Pasquale from the Il Panino Trattoria of the North End, who has been a friend of mine forever, he told me that I can use his name, I can use the recipes, I can use some of his chefs, and we changed the name like at the moment that it was about ready to go bankrupt. And since then, since we put Frankie's recipes, Frankie's name, our connection with the North End, the restaurant has been going up, not in a slow path, it's going up in a very steep upward path. And we got all excited and we finally said, oh my God, we made it. And we made it, and there was something else besides Frank Di Pasquale's help. It was the help from a wonderful professor from Northeastern University, Kim Ederson, that she provided me with groups of students from Northeastern that at the beginning, I did not know exactly what their scope of work would be. My professor, my dear professor, she advised me what and how to utilize their expertise or their skills or certain areas. And because I'm not very good with social media, I started telling them, telling the students that Professor Kim Ederson was sending me. I would say to them, let's start with Facebook, let's start with my website, let's start with Twitter, let's start with this. And they started doing amazing work that put our name on the map. And then I was treating these students like they were my grandchildren. And I was telling them that I'm getting a lot out of you. I will be cheating you if I don't offer you back. And we have to make this a win-win. I want you to learn while you're helping me out to save this business. Well, my first semester was so successful that I begged my professor to send me another group of students the following semester. And there was another group. And the other group picked up for the first group was Professor Kim Edelson, and I became more friends, and I was telling her how grateful I am. And she said, as long as the students love working with you, I'm going to be sending you students forever. And I said, can I ask you, can I have students until I die? I loved, and it's been 6 or 7 semesters that we are having the students. And it's not a coincidence. For 6 or 7 semesters, the business, like I said before, is improving rapidly so well that now we are, in 2 weeks, getting ready to open a new location. Who would believe it? From the brink of bankruptcy, from absolute certainty that bankruptcy was around the corner, and I was not able to face it because I hate losing, and it was going to be my first big loss. And who would have known that after all this, after all the help I got from Frank DiPasquale, from my professor Kim Edelson, now we open a new location. The new location is in Jamaica Plain also. It's called the Il Panino Express, which was the name of Frank DiPasquale's ventures at the corner of Parameter Street and Hanover Street, which is now Quattro. And we are so excited, and that is pretty much where we are right now. Exuberance is not the word that describes how I feel, how my wife, how my family, how my employees feel, because they see us. Everything that we did, it comes into fruition. So that's pretty much it as far as your question.
You've also, over the years, just recently, even before the Il Panino Express, you built a catering business within Il Panino.
Yes.
How did that decision come about?
It was partly from advice from the students that you sent me. They asked me if I can cater to a couple of events that they were familiar with, and I catered to them. And then they said to me, you know, we can give you a list of potential customers in the area that we can put together, and you can approach them and start getting some business. So with the help of students, on semester number 3, they gave me the list. I started making some phone calls, and right now catering is about 20% of the business, and it is on the way up also.
Excellent.
So catering, it was, again, one of the gifts that I got from Northeastern University. In the restaurant, there is the flag of Northeastern University. There is the articles in newspapers that describe my association with Northeastern University and the students and my professor. So it's all to do with Northeastern and advice that I got from you and from your students.
Thank you. So what were some of the most valuable lessons you've learned as an entrepreneur?
To be humble and to be always believing that I do not know anything, and this business is going to be a teaching project that's going to last a lifetime. I decided that I will never say I know enough. Right now, with the way that business are being run, with social media, there is always somebody ahead of you. So you have to evolve, and you cannot be a dinosaur. You have to keep improving, and you have to be improving But one thing that I do religiously is things like buy the best products available in the marketplace, keep the place clean, immaculately clean, clean not just in the physical sense, but clean with people that are clean hearts, uh, and treat the customers that with dignity and respect, because the customer in reality is the boss. The customer is the one that pays our bills. The customer is the one that makes us buy a home, buy a car. Without the customer, we are out of business. So the customer with me is somebody who, as soon as they come through my doors, I am on alert that they had many choices, 100 restaurants around me, and for them to come into my location, it is an honor, and I have to treat them with that much respect and dignity. The same thing with my employees. My employees are human beings that I cannot possibly look at them any differently than I look at my own family. So my employees are my family. My students are my family. And I always try to encourage them to become better, to become more productive, to have dreams, to motivate them, and to tell them that this is just a stepping stone of a much greater things that are coming to your life. And just take advantage of it and just be good. Be good. A human factor. Be good to each other, be good to your customers, be good to your family, and that once you cover that area, everything else is easy. You have to be human. You have to be a good human being. And so
what advice do you have for those students who want to someday open their own restaurant, or entrepreneurs
Yes.
who have that dream of being a restaurateur?
I would say to them that this business is a tough business. It's a very tough business. It has so many factors involved, and the mortality rate is so high that they have to really think hard about doing it. But I will say that if they really believe in themselves, they believe in their project, and that applies for every business. They have to love what they're doing. They have to love it. They have to be totally devoted that I am going to do everything it takes to make my dream come true. All the sacrifices that come along with it, all the long hours that come along with it. And if they do that, and if they take care of the customer the way I described, and take care of the employees, because the employees are the mirror of the owner, and then give it a shot. And give it a shot, and if you fail, it's okay. You should not consider a failure that you are not worthy. Everyone fails. I watch children, babies, taking baby steps, and you see them, how they fall, and they get up, and they walk again, and they fall, and they get up and walk again. Failure does not define a human being. Failure sometimes is good to learn from it. I had a few failures along the way, and the last one it was almost catastrophic before I got to Il Parino. And so I would tell the students that want to get involved in this business, do it, but be well prepared, and just make sure that you do all your homework to make sure that this is what you want to do, because there is the hours, like I mentioned, there is all kinds of other factors, and you got to be in love with it. And also to make sure that your spouse or your loved one is willing to also make the sacrifice, because they will not see you for many hours during the day. So go for it. And if everything fails in whatever business, you're in. Always there's another option. You try God and ask God for help, and hopefully you will get some help from God to succeed in life.
So, final question.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite motto or quote?
It has to do with picking up yourself from any adversity and saying, nothing is going to keep me down. I am going to keep trying, and on my tombstone, I would like to have one word written: undefeated. Undefeated, with all the defeats that I suffered through my life. Losing loved ones, losing is part of life. We all lose. I will remain until my last breath on earth undefeated. And that's it.
Thank you so much. That was so inspirational. This is Kim Edelston from DeMoore McKim School of Business, Northeastern University, and editor of the Entrepreneur and Innovation Exchange. And again, I was with Lakis Vlahoulis of Il Panino Express and Il Panino Cafe and Grill. And hopefully you were as inspired as I was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.